I'm Gary Speed, and I would like to tell you about my son, Albert. Albert was a great kid. I always described him as happy, healthy, funny, and smart. Just really a charming young man. About the time he was 14 or 15, he went through a lot of adolescent changes that, kids do. He wanted to be more independent. He became more rebellious. He was a typical teenager. Albert was going to go to a dance at Central High School where he attended, and he assured me that there was going to be an uneventful evening. And so that night I was watching TV by myself and fell asleep and woke up about 1 o'clock. And I looked outside and his car wasn't there. I sat down on his bed and we talked, and I said, "You said that you would be home by midnight and you weren't home. What have you been doing?" He said, "Oh, I just got busy with friends and didn't get home." And so while we were talking, I happened to reach down and pick up his keys in his pants pocket, out of his pants pocket, and slipped them into my pocket. And I went outside and did a little impromptu dad inspection of his car. And I found some prescription drug bottles that had marijuana in them, and found some other things, and went back and didn't have any confrontation with him, but I called his mom and I said, "Did you know that Albert had pot on him?" And she said, "Oh no, I didn't know that." And then the next thing I knew, Albert was stomping up the stairs in the house to confront me, saying, "I want my stuff back." And he was very physically aggressive. He really wanted to get into a fist fight with me. I realized then I was at the limit of my influence with him, and I needed to reach out for other help. I contacted other adults that I knew that he looked up to, and that included his principal at Central, Nancy Rousseau. And she said, "I have a real problem with drugs at Central. And the problem is not with the poor kids on the east side of town. It's with the affluent kids who live in the Heights." Because Arkansas right then led the nation in prescription drug abuse by opiates by teenagers. Whenever Albert found out that I had thought that he should be in a treatment program, he resented me for that. He sent me an email message saying that he didn't need a dad anymore, that he would never live up to my expectations. Mind you, at that point, I'd never directly confronted him with any drug problem. I never said anything bad to him about, to belittle him or in any way to talk down to him. I mean, he was an exceptional young man and had a great future ahead of him. But at the same time, he had a problem. And I didn't know how big a problem that he had at that time. The next 15 months, no telling how many times I called his phone and left the same message. I said, "Hey, Albert, it's your dad. Just wanted you to know I love you. Give me a call when you're ready to talk." I tried just to give him space and let him go through that period, and had my fingers crossed that everything would be all right in the end, but it wasn't. His last day was the last day of classes for seniors at Central High School. That night he had a bunch of his friends over to his mom's house, and they were getting sort of loud and so on and so forth, and he had to go to school the next day. So his mom told all of his friends that they had to go home, and Albert got very angry and made a big scene, threw a bunch of food on the floor and that sort of thing, which was unlike him again. He left the house that night and went over to stay at a friend's house. During that night, he took some prescription pills. He drank some alcohol. He smoked some marijuana. He called his girlfriend and left a message and just said, "I'm not doing very well, but I want you to know that I love you." And that was it. His friend, where he was at the house where he was sleeping, tried to wake him up, threw a pill at him, didn't move. And so he tried to carry him out to the car to take him to the emergency room. And he made it all the way to the carport and realized that Albert was gone. Albert died that night of a combination of methadone and Xanax. I have a photograph of him standing on top of a mountain. And I look at that picture and have such bittersweet memories. It reminds me of all the things that he missed in life, all of the dreams that he had in life. He gave up those dreams for drugs, and that's just a terrible loss. In the end, life is short, and I always tell people, don't give up your dreams, don't do drugs, because it's not worth it.